What's up, everyone? Good morning and welcome to our Sunday morning online Water's Edge worship experience. Once again, thank you so very much for choosing to hang out with us today over the next hour, over the next few minutes. For those of you that continue to invite people to our live and in-person services every single Sunday at 9:30 and 11:15, or for those of you that continue to like and share our online worship services with your circle of influence, thank you so very much for doing that. Continue to do that. We have new people tuning in and showing up every single week, and they're getting help with their heart and their life and their faith and their circumstances and their storms and their walk with Christ. Also, for those of you that have just started or you're continuing to give and worship with us through a very holy and beautiful and sacred way to worship, we don't just worship through song and we don't just worship through learning from God's Word, but we also worship through giving and generosity. It is an act of sacrifice, it's an act of devotion, and it's an act of worship. John 3:16, for God so loved the world that He gave. And when we love God, and when we love God's church, and when we love the mission that Jesus has for His local church and our local communities, then we want to give back. And every time you worship with us through giving and generosity, you allow us to minister to more people, reach more people, baptize more people, help more people, love more people, serve more people, feed more people, shelter more people, and show our city and our community the love of God, the body of Christ, and the compassion of Jesus. So thank you so very much for doing that. All right, we have just finished another year, and I don't know about you, but this past year, the past 12 months just went by really, really fast. The past 12 months just flew by very, very quickly, and maybe for some of you, maybe for so many of you, this past year was filled with challenges and difficulties and adversities and storms and questions. But maybe for others of you, this past year, 2025, was filled with good news and victory and new beginnings. But regardless of how 2025 played out for you, and regardless of how it ended, it's my prayer and it's my deep desire for all of you that this new year is going to be filled with more peace and more hope than last year, more love and more strength than last year, more clarity and more grace than last year, and more intimacy with God in your walk with Jesus than last year. And we begin this new year with a very real life series. And this series is called The Elephant in the Room. And the reason why we're calling this series The Elephant in the Room is because of this. I want to talk to you over the next few weeks from the Bible, from the Scripture, about issues, struggles, mindsets, patterns, and beliefs that historically have never really been talked about in church, or if they have, they haven't been talked about correctly, because historically the church never really knew how to talk about these subjects and about these struggles and about these issues and about these battles in a very clear way and in a very helpful way. So hopefully over the next few weeks in this Elephant Room series, we're going to find some real life help from our real life Jesus, from His real life Scripture. And today I want to talk to you about something that I've never really heard talked about before in church in a way that's helpful and in a way that's clear. Let's begin here. Today we pick up in Colossians chapter 3, verse 23. If you're still with me, say I'm still with you. Work willingly at whatever you do as though you were working for the Lord rather than for people. Now, this verse has an overall principle that it's teaching us. And the main principle that this verse is teaching is this, and notice this today. Other people see Jesus in you when you work hard to take care of your own responsibilities in this life. We all have responsibilities, and it honors God. Our life honors God when you and I make sure and work hard to take care of our own responsibilities in this life. Next, we go to Romans chapter 14, verses 12 through 13. Notice this. Yes, each of us will give a personal account to God, so let's stop condemning each other. Let's stop condemning each other. Decide instead to live in such a way that you will not cause another believer to stumble and to fall. Now, right here, the missionary says that we shouldn't judge each other and we shouldn't condemn each other. You have to leave all that work up to God, because we all have to give a personal account to God for our own life and how we handled our own responsibilities. You're not going to give an account for someone else's life, and someone else is not going to give an account for your life. You will give an account for your own life, and I will give an account for my own life. And then he says this, decide to live in such a way that we don't cause other people to stumble. And one way that you and I can cause other people to stumble is when we become irresponsible and we don't take care of our responsibilities, because every time you become irresponsible, then someone else has to become responsible for what you became irresponsible for. So once again, other people see Jesus in you clearly when you work really hard to take care of your own life and your own responsibilities. And it honors God when you and I become responsible for our own responsibilities. It also does something else for our soul that I'm going to get to in just a few moments, but understand, it honors God when you and I purpose in our heart to work hard to be responsible for our own responsibilities. Next verse that we go to, Galatians chapter 6, verses 4 through 5. If you're still with me, say I'm still with you. Pay careful attention to your own work, for then you will get the satisfaction of a job well done. And you don't need to compare yourself to anyone else, for we are each responsible for our own conduct. Let me read that last sentence again. For we are all each responsible for our own conduct. Now, right here, according to the missionary, each of us have our own responsibilities. And when you and I are responsible enough to take care of our own responsibilities, number one, not only does it honor God, but this verse says right here that it brings satisfaction to your soul. There's something that just brings a deep peace and a deep confidence and a deep strength to your faith and a deep satisfaction to your soul when you know, regardless of the storms that you're facing, you're still standing up, walking with Christ, and you're responsible to take care of your own responsibilities. When you take care of your own responsibilities in this life, nothing else will bring satisfaction to your soul like being responsible for your own life and taking care of your own responsibilities. Do you want your soul and your heart and your faith to feel satisfied today? Then work hard to be responsible for your very own life. Becoming more and more responsible for your own responsibilities is just going to produce more peace, confidence, and satisfaction in your life. And then he says this, you don't need to compare your life to other people. Why? Because they're not responsible for your life. You're not responsible for theirs. You are responsible for your life, and they are responsible for theirs. So once again, other people see Jesus in you when you work hard to make sure that you take care of your responsibilities, and it honors God when we do that. Next is this, James chapter 4, verse 17. Remember, it is a sin to know what you ought to do and then not do it. Now, we're all responsible for our own life and our own responsibilities, and we're all responsible to always do the next right thing in this life. And right here, the half-brother of Jesus, James, he says that if you know you have a responsibility in this life and you become irresponsible and you don't take care of that responsibility, then for you know that was the right thing to do, then for you that was a sin. Other people can clearly see Jesus in you when no matter what storm you're facing, no matter what adversity you're facing, you still stand up and you work hard to take care of your own responsibilities. It honors God when you and I become responsible for our very own life. Now, let's talk about another fun subject, manipulation. Notice this passage in Proverbs, and then we're going to start tying some things in together. This is going to be very interesting and helpful today, but also a bit confronting. Notice this, Proverbs 26, 23 through 28. Smooth words may hide a wicked heart, just as a pretty glaze covers a clay pot. People may cover their hatred with pleasant words, but they're deceiving you. They pretend to be kind, but don't believe them. Their hearts are full of many evils. While their hatred may be concealed by trickery, their wrongdoing will be exposed in public. If you set a trap for others, you will get caught in it yourself. If you roll a boulder down on others, it will crush you instead. A lying tongue hates its victims, and flattering words cause ruin. A lying tongue hates its victims, and flattering words cause ruin. Just like you put a shiny, pretty glaze over an old clay pot, sometimes people do that with their words to cover up the true manipulation that's hiding in their heart. Let me say that again. Just like you put a shiny glaze to pretty up an old dirty clay pot, sometimes people do that with their manipulating words to hide the manipulation that's really hiding in their heart. Their words are smooth, and their words say one thing, but in their heart they have a completely different motive. They appear to be kind, but it's deceiving. And most of the time, this is what they're doing. They're trying to get something from you. It's manipulation. They're trying to get something from you. And if they don't get what they want from you when they want it, then they start to paint themselves as the victim. Let me say that again. If they don't get what they want from you when they want it, then many times they start to paint themselves as the victim. The author also says that manipulators are people who set traps. They set traps with their questions. Do you do that? You're a manipulator. They set traps with their words. They have setups. They have setup conversations. They're going to ask you something or talk about something, and based off of your response, they're setting you up. These people are manipulators. They have a wickedness hiding in their heart. And then eventually those traps just cause chaos in everyone else's life around them and in their life too. God's people should work very hard not to become mental and emotional and relational and spiritual manipulators, because that is mental and emotional and relational and spiritual abuse. Now, let's tie all of this in together. I want to make a statement, and then I want us to build from there. And this is what it is, and remember this today, and this is so important. If you're still with me, say, I'm still with you. You are not someone's victim because they refuse to be responsible for your irresponsibility. You are not someone else's victim because they have set a boundary and they refuse to be responsible for your irresponsibility. And it's absolutely a manipulation tactic when someone tries to make you feel bad and when someone tries to make you feel guilty and low because you didn't step in and fix their irresponsibilities. When someone tries to make you feel bad or feel guilty for not stepping in and fixing their chaos and fixing their crises and fixing their irresponsibilities that they created in their own life, that is selfish, it's manipulating, it's chaotic, it's exhausting, it's unpeaceful, it's unfair, and it's unchristlike. Have you ever done that to someone? Are you a trap setter? Are you a manipulator? Do you try to make people feel bad and guilty for not stepping in and fixing the mess that you made or becoming responsible for your irresponsibilities? Has someone ever done that to you? Doesn't it feel awful on the inside? It's crushing. We have to recognize and eliminate these patterns in our life. We have to eliminate these patterns in our life if we ever want to grow into the disciple that Jesus Christ calls us to be. Now, in light of all that, I'm about to share with you some real life confronting observations, and we really need to take these to heart and take these seriously. The first is this, and notice this today. It's no one else's job to manage our own personal emotions. This is your responsibility. It's no one else's job to make you feel happy. It's no one else's job to make you feel not sad. And it's no one else's job to make you feel joy. It's no one else's job to make you feel not so depressed anymore. It's no one else's job to make you feel confident with a high self-esteem. That is my job for me, and that is your job for you. And it is wrong to make someone else in your life feel bad and feel guilty. And it is wrong to paint yourself as a victim just because other people or the other person in your life doesn't have the ability. It's not that they don't love you enough. It's that the other people or the other person, they don't have that ability to manage your emotions. They have theirs to manage. You have to manage yours. So we have to make sure to be responsible for our own responsibilities, because that's not their job to do that for us. Next is this. Here's a next really fun point. If you're still with me, say I'm still with you. It's no one else's job to manage our mental state. This is our own responsibility. We can be a source of encouragement for other people. We can be a source of comfort for other people. We're supposed to be a source of love for other people, but we cannot fix someone else's mental struggles and someone else's mental battles and someone else's mental state. And it's not someone else's job to calm your mind down when it's chaotic. It's not someone else's job to calm your mind down when it's racing. It's not someone else's job to help you snap back into reality when you're thinking in ways that's not reality at all. It's not someone else's job to do that. And don't do that to other people in your life. We are not victims if the other people in our life cannot fix what we're dealing with in our mind. We're not their victim. That's my job for me to handle and your job for you to handle. We move on. Notice this. It's no one else's job to manage our own personal fears, anxieties, and worries. Now, we do have other people in our life that we all love, and we must love them with everything that we have. And it's our job to make their fears and their anxieties and their worse. It's our job to make sure that they're not worse than what they already are. We want to make sure they're not worse than what they already are. But some people have extreme fear, extreme worry, extreme anxiety. And some people will use those extremes to try to control the other people in their life so those extremes don't get worse. And they will tie their anxieties and their worries and their fears to what you do and what you do not do. And then that will turn into this. Let me say that again. They will tie their anxieties and their worries and their fears to what you do or what you do not do. And then that'll turn into this. How dare you do that? Or how dare you not do that? And that, whatever it is, most of the time is just normal, basic, everyday things. Not bad things, just normal, basic, everyday things. But because their fears are extreme, and their worries are extreme, and their anxieties are extreme, then even these everyday normal things can turn into big issues. They'll say things like, don't you know how bad my anxiety is? How dare you do that? Don't you know how bad I worry and how bad my fears is? How dare you do that? How dare you not take all of that into consideration before you make a choice in life? If your anxiety and your worry and your fear is robbing someone else of their peace and their freedom, that's wrong. Then you're using it to manipulate and control and hover. If your fear and your anxiety and your worry is causing the other people or person in your life to lose their peace and to lose their freedom, then you are using your issues as a manipulation tactic to control people, whether you realize it or not. Do not expect the other people in your life to move around those issues all the time if you have extreme issues. That's not love to ask the other people to do that. Because let me say this, you're not a victim if they refuse to do that. You're not a victim, because all they're refusing to do is to be responsible for your responsibilities. You're not a victim if the other people in your life refuse to be responsible for your own responsibilities. And you can't make people feel guilty and bad for not stepping in and fixing what you're responsible to deal with. The next really fun observation today is this, and notice this, it's no one else's job to give you purpose in your own life. That's the work of Jesus. That is His job and His job only. And all of us have the same purpose. That's to experience in a personal way the love of Jesus in a transforming way, and to help the other people around us experience the love of Jesus in a real and a transforming way. And having a real and intimate relationship with Jesus will help you discover your purpose in life. But it's not the responsibility of the other people in your life to find a reason for you to enjoy your life. It's not the responsibility of the other people in your life to make sure that you're not bored. It's not the responsibility of the other people in your life to make sure that you have a reason to wake up and live. That's for you to discover as you walk with Christ. He has given you special and specific talents and gifts. He has given you special and specific passions and influence. He has given you special and specific identity and individualism and faith. And it's not your spouse's job, and it's not your family's job, and it's not your friend's job, and it's not the other people's in your life. It's not their job to eliminate your boredom. That's not their job. It's not their job to always travel down misery road with you because you can't figure out how to get on top of your sadness and depression. It's not their job to let you hover over them and control them because you have anxieties and fears and worries that are extreme. It's not their job to sacrifice their mental peace just to keep your mind from falling apart. It is not their job to sacrifice their mental peace just to keep your mind from falling apart. We all have responsibilities, and the loving and the Christ-like and the right thing to do is to not expect the other people in your life to be responsible for your responsibilities. It's manipulation when we make the other people in our life feel bad and feel guilty and feel low for not stepping in and taking care of what we're called to take care of in our own life. Don't do that to people. It's unfair. And if someone's doing that to you, you don't have to stand for that. Set clear boundaries and love those people from a distance. Think about when Jesus died on the cross. When Jesus died on the cross, He did that with no expectation that we would love Him back or follow Him back. He just loved us unconditionally, and He died on the cross for love's sake just because He loved us. He died just because He loved us with zero expectations. And that's what real love does. Real love loves just for the sake of love. Real love loves just for the sake of love. Sometimes people feel rejected, not because they're being rejected. Sometimes people feel rejected, not because they're being rejected, but because the other people in their life are putting distance between themselves and that person who's feeling rejected. And sometimes that happens because of this. If you're always making the other people in your life feel guilty, if you're always making the other people in your life feel bad, if you're always making the other people in your life feel stressed, if you're always making the other people in your life feel exhausted, if you're always making the other people in your life feel like every step they take, they're upsetting you or letting you down. If you always make the other people in your life feel like they're just not doing enough for you, then eventually you're going to take that person way past their limits, and it doesn't matter how much that person loves you. They're not able to handle that. And so they're going to start to put distance in between you and them. That's not rejection. That's setting boundaries for survival. Boundaries and distance is not rejection. But understand why people do that to us. It's because we stress them out. We exhaust them. We make people feel guilty and feel bad many times for not stepping in and taking care of what we're called to take care of. So what does God call us to do? He's given us all a life, and we have to be responsible for our very own life. And never paint yourself as a victim just because the other people in your life don't step in and fix your responsibilities for you. You know all those fears and worries that you deal with? You know all those burdens and hurts that you deal with? Do you know that heartache that you deal with and that regret that you deal with? And you battle with it all the time in your heart and in your mind and in your soul. Look right here. The other people in your life go through the same thing. They're dealing with things that overwhelm them too. Stop painting yourself as a victim just because they're not taking the time to put all of their life and all of their pain and all of their worries and all of the battles on hold just to fix yours. You're not a victim if they won't do that. Your life is your responsibility. My life is my responsibility. And then we all come together and we encourage each other to stand up together. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Next week, we hit another elephant room subject. We hope this helped you out today. Now remember to stay tuned in for an amazing time of worship with the amazing Water's Edge worship team. We cannot wait to see you back next week, and we love you all.